Every night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., time goes missing, and I'm the only one who knows it. It started subtly. I'd be working late, lost in thought, and glance at the clock on my laptop. 2:16 a.m., I'd blink, maybe look away for a second, and when I looked back, it was 2:18 a.m. The first few times, I dismissed it. My computer was old, probably just a glitch. But then it happened with my phone, my new digital alarm clock, even the microwave. Every single night, without fail, the minute of 2:17 a.m. simply vanished. I thought I was losing my mind. I asked friends, family, coworkers, "Hey, have you ever noticed anything weird with your clocks early in the morning?" They'd just give me a strange look. Like what? They'd ask. No, everything's normal. For them, 2:16 was followed by 2:18, and it had always been that way. It was as if the minute never existed. I set up a camera to record my digital clock overnight. The next morning, I eagerly scrubbed through the footage. There it was, the timestamp, jumped directly from 2 hours, 16 minutes and 59 seconds to 2 hours, 18 minutes and 0 seconds. An entire minute, gone. I tried an audio recorder next, placing it beside a ticking analog clock. I listened back to the recording. The rhythmic tick-tock was steady, then a clean, imperceptible cut, and the ticking resumed. The space where 2:17 should have been was silent, completely erased from the recording itself. It wasn't a power outage. It wasn't a network synchronization issue. All my devices did it, whether they were connected to the internet or not. This was a fundamental rule of the universe, and somehow, I was the only one exempt from its amnesia. The world was editing itself, snipping out 60 seconds of reality every single night, and no one else had a clue. The minute wasn't just being skipped, it was being meticulously, surgically removed from existence. What could possibly happen in 60 seconds that was so important it needed to be erased from history every single day? I had to know. I knew digital devices were useless. They were part of the system. I had to go analog. I bought a dozen old-fashioned wind-up watches, synchronizing them all. I set up an old film camera, the kind that uses actual celluloid, aimed at my window. I even prepared a pen and paper, determined to write down the exact second the change happened. My plan was simple: stay awake, stay focused, and witness the impossible. Night after night, I fought off sleep. I drank coffee until my hands trembled. But every time, just as the clock approached 17, an overwhelming wave of exhaustion would hit me. It felt unnatural, like a switch being flipped in my brain. My eyelids would feel like lead, and the next thing I knew, sunlight would be streaming through the window, and the clock would read to 18. Then, one night, something changed. Maybe it was the sheer desperation, the will to finally have an answer. The exhaustion came thick and heavy, but I fought it. I dug my nails into my palms, splashed water on my face, and stared at the clock. The long second hand swept past the 12 to 17 a.m. I held my breath, and the world moved without me. Through my window, the empty street below suddenly filled with shimmering, translucent figures. They weren't ghosts. They were people, walking, talking, living, but they moved with a strange, jerky quality, like a film playing on a broken projector. Cars appeared and disappeared in flashes of light. I heard whispers, snippets of conversations from the street, but they were disjointed, looping. A man apologized for something, his words echoing before fading. I stumbled back from the window, my heart hammering against my ribs. My film camera was running, the film clicking forward, but when I looked through the viewfinder, it saw only the empty street I was used to. My pen was in my hand, but I couldn't make it touch the paper. It was like I was separated from the world by an invisible pane of glass. I could see it, I could hear it, but I couldn't touch it. I couldn't interact with it. The world wasn't pausing or skipping. It was living a secret life for 60 seconds, a life from which I was completely and utterly excluded. In that moment, staring out at the chaotic, glitching reality below, a horrifying thought crystallized in my mind. The minute wasn't missing. I was. Why me? What made me the sole observer of this nightly correction? I spent weeks watching the phantom minute. I began to notice patterns. A car that had swerved to avoid an accident at 2:16 would, in the ghost minute, replay the scene, but this time it would crash. Then, at 2:18, everything would be back to normal, the car undamaged, the driver unaware of the near disaster. I heard arguments resolve, apologies whispered that were never spoken in the real world. The truth began to dawn on me, as terrifying as it was profound. The world wasn't perfect. People made mistakes. Tragedies happened that weren't supposed to. Reality was full of errors, regrets, and paths that shouldn't have been taken. This missing minute, a 60-second window where reality could fix its own code, mend its own wounds, and erase its mistakes before they became permanent. And for this correction to work, for reality to remain stable while it repaired itself, one piece had to be temporarily removed from the equation. That someone was me. I wasn't special. I was just the one who was left out. I was the price of a stable reality for everyone else. I was the lonely guardian of a minute no one else would ever know. I learned to live with it. The loneliness was crushing, but there was a strange sense of purpose, too. I was a silent witness to the world's secret healing. I watched as fates were rewritten, and second chances were silently granted. The phantom minute became my private sanctuary, my secret knowledge. Then, last night, something new happened. I was in my usual spot by the window, waiting. The clock ticked towards 2:17. I braced for the familiar feeling of detachment, for the world to shimmer and change, but it didn't. The second hand swept past the 12 to 17 and 1 second, 2:17 and 2 seconds. The street below remained solid, empty, and silent. The world outside my window didn't change. My heart pounded. For the first time in years, the clock didn't skip. I was included. I was finally part of the whole again. A slow smile spread across my face. It was over. And then, everything froze. The sweeping second hand of the clock stopped mid-tick. A car that had just turned the corner hung suspended in the street. The low hum of the refrigerator went silent. The world hadn't just paused. It had stopped. I looked down at my hands, and a chilling realization washed over me. I finally understood. The world didn't remove a minute to fix its mistakes. It needed a minute, a specific one, to function. And that minute had always belonged to someone. The minute wasn't missing. It was mine.